Camilla Harris is too insecure, and you can definitely see it. You can definitely see how insecure she was from the interview last night with Dana Bash and Tim Waltz. It was just terrible. She kept looking down. It looked like she was trying to look down, and nope, she wouldn't. She looked like she wouldn't look Dana in the eye. So how can you expect her to sit across from Putin, to sit across from Kim Jong Il, to sit across from our adversaries, being this insecure? Now, I work with people that's insecure all the time in therapy. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can't perform your job, but if you are gonna be the president of the United States, you have to show confidence. You can't be insecure and be the leader of the free world and expect people to follow you. You are expected to be a leader, and I don't see it in Camilla Harris. And it's not because she's a female. It has nothing to do with that. It's plenty of competent females that could do better than what she is. It's just, so we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also links to my Instagram and my X account as well. All right, so let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from the National Review from Michael Brendan Daugherty, and he reports that maybe it was being shivved in a debate by Tulsi Gabbard, a figure unlikely ever to be the Democratic nominee. Maybe it was the experience of dropping out of the 2020 presidential race without ever getting serious traction, and before even a vote was cast. Maybe it was the run of bad press that greeted her upon her election to the vice presidency. Or maybe it was the very high-handed, even undermining treatment by the Biden people that formed Camilla Harris into the plainly needy and painfully insecure person we saw in the Dana Bash interview this week. In July of this year, just a few weeks ago, really, Alex Thompson of Axios could report that her vice presidency had been defined by staff turnover, retreat from politically risky responsibilities, and, quote, mocking from some Beltway insiders. See, people in Washington knows how dumb she really is. A lot of people can't believe that she's actually running for president. Even the ones that support her, they know how incompetent she really is. And that's why she's so insecure, because she doesn't come off as knowing anything. She comes off as an idiot. That's why she has these word salads all the time and have a very difficult time articulating her points of view. We still don't know where she stands on fracking. She says she goes back and forth. It's hard to understand where she stands on anything, really. So we have to go with history on her to determine what her policies would be or how she really feels. And that the Biden White House had a low view of her because she avoided any tasks with risk. You can't name one thing that she did for the for Biden that actually helped people. Like, she was in charge of the border, even though they try to say that she wasn't, and the border's still terrible. Every task that she was given, she didn't complete. She didn't do a great job at. But Harris, it has widely been reported, would have her staff stage mock dress rehearsals of friendly dinners with the press. The sort that's weird. The sort that most politicians handle without any more preparation than a brief conversation with aides or a note card. So she can't even sit down and have a dinner with someone, friendly people, and have a conversation. Oh my gosh. The long-awaited CNN interview showed us that without all the razzmatazz, he said razzmatazz, I haven't heard that word for a very long time, razzmatazz of a giant arena of chemically and politically stimulated Democrats to decorate her ascendance to her party's nomination, Camilla Harris is not at all comfortable in her own skin, not at all confident in her ideas, and not at all competent to think on her feet when the moment requires. She's the same Camilla Harris who had a 37% approval rating until a few weeks ago, except now she's trying not to laugh or talk about Vin diagrams as much as the old version. Yeah, I know she tried her best not to cackle during that interview, right? Even against the more aged Donald Trump, this Kamala Harris just isn't up to the task that the Democrats have for their 2024 nominee, which is to finally and irrevocably exercise American politics of Donald Trump, and thereby to save democracy both at home and abroad, according to them. She is hampered by her own lack of legitimacy, namely the fact that she didn't win her party's primary, meaning it isn't clear whether she is in charge of the party or whether the party elites who affected her nomination are in charge of her. We all know she's not going to, if she happens, God forbid, to be president, she's not going to run anything because she's incompetent. She's not going to run anything. Do you really think she will run they will allow her to run the White House? Do you really think that Biden is really running the White House with his mental acuity being as it is? You know, so who is really running the White House? The elites are running the White House. The oligarchy is running the White House. But it's perfectly understandable that Democrats think that her fresh face can be enough. New face, same policy. The prospect of two geriatric men who have been known to the public since the disco era contending for the presidency was giving this country fits. This past decade has been a big bummer for millions of Americans, especially those of millennials who feel suddenly re-excluded from the American dream by inflation at just the moment their salaries had promised to granted to them. But Camilla's name just being co-branded with the future is not enough. Nobody believes that, really. Americans may be willing to ditch the last decade of bad vibes, but they aren't ready to chance the presidential election on a candidate who seems to not have or want to have the burden of a policy agenda that addresses their problems. Kamala Harris has been intimidated and somewhat bossed around by the Biden staffers, by the left wing of her party, and now by Dana Bash. Voters will naturally wonder if her lack of spine is as debilitating in an American executive as Biden's mental infirmities. That's what I was just alluding to. At least when Biden came to a judgment, his senility would substitute stubbornness where steel might be required. That's true. People with dementia often, they often crash out and stuff like that, and we've seen it several times with Joe Biden. When he doesn't get his way, he gets mad. He starts to raise his voice. But Kamala can't be out front and simultaneously take stage directions from the polls, from Nancy Pelosi, from the Obama people, and from the media investing all their hopes in her. Every step forward she takes, the more vulnerable she appears. And she looked very vulnerable last night. She looked like a little kid sitting in that chair. She did look very insecure. And it showed. It definitely showed. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.